Hi, I'm Shawandra Ford, and I am the owner of Brwnskn Yoga. Brwnskn Yoga is located in Whitehaven inside of the Southbrook Mall Town Center. You can follow me on Instagram at Brwnskn Yoga. You can also check out my website at www.brwnsknyoga.com. That's Brownskin Yoga. And keep watching Xhibit Plus.
Hello, you're watching Exhibit Plus. My name is Tay Alexandria, and today we have a special guest, the owner of Brownskin Yoga, Miss Shawandra Ford. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So we're going to start by asking just some simple questions. So what I want to know is what made you come up with the name Brownskin Yoga?
Brownskin Yoga, definitely a representation thing. We're representing for our for people that look like us.
Mm-hmm.
We're going out into the community, and I'm teaching students in underserved areas, and I definitely feel like representation matters. And what better way than to get their attention with something that speaks to them? We're brown skin,
Mm-hmm.
and letting them know that it is okay for people in the black and brown community to practice yoga.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I do. So I know. Well, I also wanted to know, how did you begin yoga? Where was your start?
I started practicing yoga in 2013. I actually lost my mom in 2010.
Mm.
And from there, I was doing like grief counseling and therapy, all these different things. And I just simply kind of like stumbled upon a yoga class. And I just really kind of like fell in love with the practice. It was a way for me to come into a space, come into my mat,
Mm-hmm.
and just allow myself to be in that moment. Allow myself to feel all the things that I needed to feel. Sometimes I think when we're dealing with grief or we're dealing with trauma or we're dealing with issues, we try to run away from those things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually come to a place where you actually have to face them, then you do what you have to do and you deal with them. And that was one of the biggest things for me with yoga.
Yeah, you deal with it head on. That's
Mm-hmm.
a good approach.
Yeah.
So, also, before you begin yoga, what was your career path at the time?
I actually worked for Shelby County Schools for 22 years. I started working there when I was 18,
Okay.
and I worked in different schools. I also worked in different departments, but my background is IT and finance.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
That's money.
Yeah.
That's money.
It's definitely money. I definitely miss it. I
Okay.
definitely miss the money.
Okay. I feel you. I feel
Yes.
you on that. But yeah. Okay. That's good.
So yeah, and I've had the opportunity to work with some of the most amazing people
Mm-hmm.
throughout my career. I actually just saw one of my old coworkers, Tyrone Wells, and he has his business going, Wells Design, and just to be in that space with some of those same people,
Mm-hmm.
it's just nostalgic. Like I've had some of the most amazing opportunities, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
I see it. It seems like it's your passion.
Hmm.
And also, I did read that you also did yoga classes for students,
Hmm.
virtually and in schools as well. So, have you seen personally? Has any children like came to you telling them their stories about how they've grown from taking your classes?
I teach some of the most amazing students. Although some of them are in some of the most underserved areas,
Mm-hmm.
they are amazing. I started a pilot at Vision Prep Charter School where I was teaching kindergarten through fifth grade, and I was teaching them yoga and social emotional learning. And we started the pilot off. Originally, I was going to be in the classroom, but then the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
So for those students, I started teaching them via Zoom, and they showed up for yoga.
Okay.
They were I was completely shocked myself. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize that it was going to have such an impact um, on those kids, and they just completely blew my mind. Um, Even some of the students now, they're still in my DM, and they're like, "We're the Brown Skin Yoga Squad, and we're the originals."
Okay.
I have some students over at Southwind High School. Some of my track students. That was my first athletic team
Mm-hmm.
under Elisa Seymour, and those girls, they're phenomenal. And we just started out with the girls track team, and then before I knew it, we had boys and girls. It was like co-ed, and they were coming in. They had their yoga mats. I was like, okay, bid, let's
Oh,
get into it. I
they
was
was
like,
ready
they
for
was
it.
ready.
Okay.
And so when I have kindergartners to come into my class, or if I have pre-K students, students that are in daycare centers, and they
Mhm.
come in and they show up, and they're like, hey, it's the yoga teacher. They're excited. They want to practice. And I think that's one thing that has been so overlooked, that we have a community of people
Mhm.
that they may not be able to pay for a regular yoga class if they go somewhere else, but me coming into their space, it gives them the opportunity.
Mhm.
They're amazing.
It brightens up their day.
Yes.
And I also saw that, also read that you also taught classes with children, and sometimes the parents would join as well.
Oh
How did
yes.
that make you feel?
Now that's amazing.
Mhm.
So now the students, they're getting their yoga practice, and their parents are coming in there looking in there, seeing what their children are doing. And a lot of times the parents, they would come in and they would sit in on a class, and then they would start to participate. So not only am I just teaching the child, now I'm teaching the entire family,
Mhm.
and that's huge. And I don't know if people like see it the way I see it. um, Me being a visual, when I see a mom coming in and she see her son is meditating,
Mhm.
a boy, and he's sitting down in crisscross applesauce and he's meditating, and she joins in with him. Nobody never really taught us that.
Mhm.
That's a whole vibe, that's a whole thing. And to see people start to come in and start to engage with their children and learning something that they've never learned before,
Mhm.
can't put a stamp on it.
Mhm. And it brings the family together
It brings
too.
the family together. And now when we start talking about healing, now we're healing together, right?
Mhm.
Definitely you have the child there, but the parents, they have emotions and things that they're going through as well. So now we're teaching to a whole community. There's one quote that I really really fell in love with, and it said, if I can change a classroom, I can change a community. And
Mhm.
if I can change a community, then I can change the world. So not saying that I can do all of this by myself, because of course I know I can't. But just saying, when just seeing the family come in, then they're
Mhm.
taking that back into their community. I mean, I'm talking about, we're in the hood.
Yeah.
And they was like, okay, let's do yoga. I've been wanting to try yoga. Let's get into
Okay,
it. So
okay. I love that you inspire people. That's great, especially in these low socioeconomic communities. It gives people a goal, something to look forward to.
absolutely.
I love that. And also, I know that you're doing a lot in the Whitehaven area, where your yoga centers in the Whitehaven
Hmm.
area. Do you ever branch out to different parts of Memphis, or even nationally or globally?
We are, the wheels on the bus go round and round. We are all over the city. So I am almost in every school within the district, from, or even outside the district. I'm in Collierville. I'm in Germantown. I am in South Memphis. I could be in one day, I could be in Whitehaven,
Mhm.
and I will leave there and I'll head out to South Memphis. And from South Memphis, I'll be in Collierville.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so
So you're
many.
all around.
Yes. Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. Do you ever think about going to like the more rural parts of Memphis, or outside of Memphis?
I travel a lot.
Okay.
So I did an event for Ole Miss, where they wanted me to come in and teach their teachers how to teach yoga and social emotional learning to their students. We actually even did like a video where they had me like on the green screen, and now I'm in a field of these flowers, and I'm teaching yoga, and I was like, okay, wow, that's dope, that's pretty cool. So I've done that, and I traveled last year to Costa Rica,
Okay.
and I stayed within their call it what it is. I stayed in their hood, and
Mhm.
I taught yoga and social emotional learning to their students. So wherever I travel to, I always try to make sure that I ask, is there a community that I can go out and teach to? Because
Mhm.
that's definitely my passion, and just being able to connect with people and teach them something different, it's great.
Mhm. It seems like it. It does. So with Brownskin Yoga, what type of self care tips do you take on, and what other self care tips can you give to others?
Okay, so with that being said, I always tell people I'm human just like everyone else. I have good days, I have bad days. I have days where I just want to stay in bed and pull the cover over my head just like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But with your yoga practice, you find things that help motivate you. We're practicing self care, self awareness, being mindful. So there's no right or wrong thing that you can do. Definitely like to burn a lot of incense, burn a
Okay.
lot of sage,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm taking on everyone's energy all the
Yeah, you
time,
have to be careful with
and you
that.
have to be very careful with energy. So, with that being said, I burn a lot of sage, I burn a lot of incense. Have a couple glasses of wine here and there, but I mean, it's just those things that kind of like help you come back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of meditation, a lot of meditation, a lot of breathing techniques. I practice breathing daily,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's time for me to go to bed. I'm practicing my breathing techniques. My husband, he may come in. I'm like, it's like, what's wrong with you? Focus on yourself. I'm breathing. Yeah, it's things like
Okay.
that. Yeah, that's really a breathing technique. Those are those deep big inhales and exhales, and it's almost like a release. Cause
Mm-hmm.
when we take the inhale,
It's a
they
lot.
think something about to pop off, but
Mm-hmm.
when you let it out, it feels different. It's almost like a release. I listen to a lot of audible books. A
Mm.
lot of
And
audible
that's very
books.
common too.
Very common. It's almost like somebody's in the house talking to me, and I'm just like, hey, okay, tell me your story. Let me just listen. I don't have to say anything.
Okay.
And just being quiet, finding stillness within yourself, learning how to just be quiet
Mm-hmm.
and being in your own space and just allowing yourself to connect with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's important. And also, what adversities or obstacles have you faced while trying to, bring your business up to where it is now?
Don't ask me that question.
Oh
It has been very challenging.
no. Mm.
Um, I think with yoga, it has been so over commercialized that there's a certain demographic that think yoga is just for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. I had one lady reach out to me and she told me I had a billboard up and she told me that my billboard was racist because it said Brownskin Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about that is that you're welcome. Everyone is welcome. But what is the problem with what's so wrong with me saying, "Hey, I am trying to reach a certain group of people."
Mm-hmm. A certain demographic. Yeah.
And it's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely okay. Excuse me. Um, and I just think it's just so disheartening. I have one lady here locally um, who said she interviewed me once.
Mm-hmm.
She don't want to keep telling the same story over and over again.
Oh no.
Our story is important. Our voices
Mm-hmm.
deserve to be heard, and if you have to hear the same story over and over and over again, then that's a you problem.
Yeah.
That's not our problem. And if you're tired of hearing that same story, then that's a you problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have students, I have little kids that are looking up to me. I have adults that are looking up to me. I have my own family, my own friends, my children, my husband. I have all these different people, and we all have a story to tell. So the narrative changes.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you think that this story is just repetitive, this is not. This is a whole entire movement. We're on the brink of doing something so amazing, and I think they just hate to see it.
I think so too. I think that certain people, um, they hate to see when minorities try to tell their stories in a certain way, in a certain light, but they also have to understand that these are our stories and we tell it how we see it from our perspective. This is how you made us feel for years. And now for us to finally have the chance to have the words, to have the language to speak on it, now it's a problem.
And even just having the platform,
Mhm.
having a platform to speak up and say, hey, you don't get to treat us like this anymore. We
Mhm.
have a voice, and if we tell the same story a million times, you should listen.
Mhm.
If you don't want to listen, then that's absolutely okay. You have that, that's your opinion, but you don't get to hush us anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
Period.
No, that's true. That
They
is
don't get to
true.
hush us anymore.
No,
So,
ma'am, not at all. But also, lastly, because we're gonna wrap it up.
before my stomach growl again.
You're fine. But I also want the viewers to know where they can find you on social media, and if you have any other like social media accounts like Facebook or Twitter, anything like that.
Okay. So my website is www.brwnsknyoga. I spell it out because people try to throw in the vowels. So no
Mhm.
vowels. It's simply Brown Skin Yoga. I'm on Instagram at Brown Skin Yoga. Everything is pretty much Brown Skin Yoga. I also have a professional page over on LinkedIn where I handle most of my professional business there, and they can reach out to me there. Um, let's see. Um, and yeah, so basically, they just go to the website, check me out, and hopefully, they like what they see.
All right, y'all. That is all. Thank you for watching Exhibit Plus. My name is Tay Alexandria. This is Miss Shawandra Ford with Brownskin Yoga. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe. You have a good day.